In the world of construction, these massive projects, they often walk a really fine line between amazing success and just total chaos. So, how do the best managers keep everything under control? Well, today we're going to unlock the toolkit they use to turn that chaos into predictable success. Let's dive in.
So, our story starts with a really common and incredibly expensive problem. For a lot of people involved, a huge construction project can feel like a black box, You pour all this time and money in, but you're not really sure what's happening on the inside until it's way too late.
And this is the question that keeps people up at night. I mean, you've got millions of dollars, years of planning, and tons of expertise all on the line. So why is it that so many of these projects still go completely off the rails?
And here's the thing you have to understand. These failures, they don't just happen on their own. They create this massive domino effect. A missed deadline, boom, it blows the budget. A quality issue means you got to do rework, which then delays the schedule even more. This is the chaos inside that black box. It's a chain reaction of problems that happens when you just don't have clear visibility.
Okay, but what if you could shine a bright light right into that black box? Well, that's exactly where we're going next. We're going to move from the problem to the solution, and it's a concept that gives you the clarity and control you need to handle pretty much any build. So let's get our main definition down. A key performance indicator, or KPI, it's not just some random number. It's a strategic measurement. And the two most important words here are specific and measurable. What KPIs do is they replace those gut feelings with actual hard data, giving you a real objective look at how your project is truly doing.
The absolute best way to think about KPIs is to picture the dashboard in your car, right? You would never drive blind, not knowing your speed or how much fuel you have left or if your engine's okay. KPIs are literally that dashboard for your project. They give the manager all the critical info they need, all in a single glance.
So what's that dashboard actually doing for you? Well, first, it's monitoring your performance against the plan. It helps you manage risk by flagging problems super early. It lets you drive decisions based on data instead of just guessing. It creates accountability for the whole team, and maybe most importantly, it fuels the cycle of continuous improvement by showing you what worked and what didn't, so you can do better on the next job.
All right, now that we know what KPIs do, let's look at the most critical ones out there. I want you to think of these as a project's vital signs. The 3 or 4 key metrics that, just like a doctor's checkup, give you an immediate picture of its overall health.
Here they are, the big 3. First up, cost, which we measure with something called the Cost Performance Index, or CPI. It basically tells you if you're getting value for every dollar you spend. If your score is over 1, great, you're under budget. If it's below 1, you're spending too much. It's really that simple. Next is schedule, using the Schedule Performance Index, or SPI. Same exact idea. Over 1, you're ahead. Below 1, you're falling behind. And finally, safety. This is not just about rules and compliance. It's about protecting your team. Because a safe site is always a more productive and successful site.
And of course, it doesn't just stop there. You can track almost anything you can think of. The rework rate tells you about your quality. Labor productivity measures your crew's efficiency. You can even track how much material is being wasted, how often your heavy equipment is actually being used, and of course, if the client is happy. The whole key is to pick the metrics that really matter most for your project's success.
Okay, so we've got our metrics, but let's be honest, numbers on a spreadsheet don't actually build anything. The real magic happens when you turn all that data into action. So let's look at the process that makes it all click together.
I absolutely love this quote because it just perfectly captures the idea. Having data, the information, is kind of like having a barrel of oil. It's full of potential energy, right? But it's totally useless until you put it into a combustion engine, a system that can turn that potential into real power and movement. And this right here is that engine. It's a simple but really powerful 5-step cycle. You define your goals. You collect all the data. You analyze it to spot trends. You act on what you find to make things better. And then you report back to the whole team. And then the loop just starts all over again. It's a nonstop cycle of measuring and improving. So far, we've talked about using KPIs to understand what's happening right now. But the really advanced teams, they use them for something even more powerful, to actually see into the future and stop problems before they even begin. This brings us to 2 types of indicators. You've got lagging indicators. Think of these as your rearview mirror. They tell you about the past, like how much rework cost you last month. And that's useful info, but you can't change it. But then you have leading indicators. These are the windshield. They're predictive. So tracking the number of quality checks you do this week doesn't just give you a number, it helps you predict and actually prevent high rework costs next month. See the difference? And at the end of the day, this is the fundamental shift that mastering KPIs is all about. You move away from being reactive, constantly putting out yesterday's fires, to being proactive, using data to see what's coming down the road and steering clear of obstacles before you even hit them.
So let's bring it all home. What are the big takeaways? First, KPIs turn that project chaos into clarity and control. Second, just think of them as your project's dashboard, with the most important gauges being cost, schedule, and safety. Third, there's a simple process that turns raw data into real action. And finally, the real power? It's in using those leading indicators to look through the windshield, not just the rearview mirror.
So we'll leave you with this one question, which is really at the heart of everything we've talked about today. In any complex project, if you can't measure it, can you truly manage it, or are you just kind of hoping for the best? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.